You've felt it before, the strange hum beneath ordinary life, the silence that isn't empty but alive. You can't quite name it, but in some moments, just before something shifts, you feel it, like the air itself is aware of you. And then, for reasons you can't explain, the thing you were hoping for suddenly flows your way. Most people call it luck, intuition, timing, but deep down, you know it's something else, a field that listens. A living intelligence moving through everything, responding not to your words but to your state. You've sensed it when you were deeply calm and things lined up effortlessly. You've sensed it vanish when you were in resistance, when every effort pushed what you wanted further away. We've been taught to believe reality is solid, objective, indifferent, but quantum physics whispers another story. That matter rearranges itself according to observation, that your focus literally shapes the probabilities you meet. The question is, how do you feel this hidden field? Not just think about it. Because once you can feel it, you stop trying to control outcomes. You begin to move with it. But that's the trap, isn't it? We try to connect with this field by thinking harder, meditating longer, visualizing stronger. Yet none of that works when our body is still broadcasting the opposite frequency. Fear, urgency, lack. The universe doesn't hear your affirmations. It reads your coherence. Feeling the hidden field isn't mystical. It's biological, energetic, deeply human. It's what happens when your nervous system stops defending, your heart opens, and your awareness tunes into what's already here. Because the truth is, this field isn't waiting for you to earn it. It's woven through every breath. You've just been tuned to noise instead of signal. And once you learn to feel it, reality starts to respond like an echo of your own state. Imagine reality as a vast ocean, not empty space, but a liquid field of possibility vibrating in every direction. Every thought, every feeling, every micro movement of your attention sends a ripple across it. That's the hidden field, an unseen medium connecting your inner state with the probabilities around you. When you think of something, your mind sends a pulse, but when you feel it, when your whole body enters coherence, that pulse becomes a signal strong enough for the field to notice. The observer effect isn't just about scientists collapsing waves in a lab. It's happening in your daily life. Your awareness, charged with emotion, organizes the invisible into form. Think of yourself as a tuning fork suspended in water. When you vibrate with tension or fear, you distort the waves. When you relax into coherence, heart steady, breath slow, you send a clear tone through the field. That tone begins to draw matching experiences, like frequencies recognizing each other. This is why manifestation never begins with thought alone. Thought is blueprint. Embodiment is broadcast. The field reads what you are, not what you say. It listens for resonance, not requests. Let's ground this in something tangible. Say you're anxious about money. You repeat affirmations, visualize abundance, even script out your ideal day. But under the surface, your body is tight, your chest contracted, your breath shallow. To the field, that tension is the signal. It's the vibration being amplified. You're not being punished. You're simply broadcasting lack with perfect fidelity. Now flip it. When you breathe deep, release the body's grip and allow your awareness to soften. Your signal shifts. The field begins to rearrange in response to your new frequency. Not instantly, but unmistakably. Conversations open. Opportunities appear in improbable ways. This isn't magic. It's physics meeting biology through consciousness. The hidden field isn't something outside of you. You are a current within it. Every emotion, every cell participates. Once you understand that you're both sender and receiver, control stops making sense. You don't force the water to move. You become the movement itself. And that's the paradox. The more you try to manipulate the field, the more it resists. But the moment you synchronize with it, everything starts to organize around your inner tone. The next piece isn't about thinking or wishing. It's about dissolving one of the biggest myths that keeps people from ever truly feeling this field at all. And when you hear it, it will undo almost everything you were taught about creating your reality. Here's the myth that keeps almost everyone chasing their tail. The idea that if you just think positively enough, reality will rearrange for you. That the field somehow needs your perfect thoughts to start working. But the truth? The field isn't moved by words. It's moved by coherence. And coherence only comes when your mind, body, and emotions are saying the same thing. You can't fake that signal. You can't override your body's truth with mental slogans. The universe reads vibration, not vocabulary. That's why so many people feel like they're doing everything right, but nothing's shifting. They're trying to shout abundance from the mind, while the nervous system whispers danger underneath. Let's make this real. Picture someone staring at their phone, waiting for a message from someone they care about. They tell themselves, "I'm detached. I'm manifesting love. I trust the process." But their stomach is tight, their shoulders lifted, eyes darting to the screen every few seconds. Their words say trust, their body says fear of loss. The field listens to the body, and so nothing comes. The silence grows louder. They think they need more affirmations, more control. But the opposite is true. The moment they exhale fully, drop their shoulders, and feel the stillness that's been underneath the waiting, that's when the energy shifts. They stop searching for the connection and start vibrating as the connection. The phone buzzes or doesn't, but the field responds either way. Peace first, form second. The myth of perfect thinking makes you chase alignment from the neck up, but feeling the hidden field happens from the inside out. Your body is not your obstacle, it's your transmitter. Every cell is a speaker through which your consciousness sings. When you stop trying to convince the field and start matching it through embodied coherence, something profound happens. The need to prove dissolves. The ache of waiting softens. You begin to feel the quiet pulse of something that was never absent, just drowned out by effort. That's when you realize this isn't about mastering thought. It's about remembering sensation. The field doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be present. And once your nervous system learns what safety feels like, that presence turns magnetic. Because the real secret isn't thinking differently. It's regulating the body so your signal becomes clear enough for the universe to hear. And the moment your body feels safe enough to stop grasping, that's when the field starts to sing back. Most people try to raise their vibration by changing their thoughts. But the truth is, your vibration follows your nervous system. If your body doesn't feel safe, your frequency can't stabilize, no matter how many times you repeat the mantra. Safety isn't a concept, it's a chemistry. When you feel safe, your body shifts into coherence, your heart rhythm evens, your breath deepens, and the electromagnetic field around you becomes smooth, measurable, synchronized. That's not mystical, that's physiology meeting consciousness, and that's when the hidden field begins to notice you. The reason coherence matters is simple. The field reflects your internal order. When you're in fight or flight, your signal flickers. The energy you broadcast is fragmented, distorted. But when your system settles, you send one clear tone, and reality responds with matching harmony. Let's try a small practice right now. Close your eyes if you can. Feel the weight of your body where it rests. Don't try to fix your posture. Just let gravity hold you. Now breathe in slowly through the nose as if you're inhaling through your heart. Hold it for a moment. Not with tension, but like you're savoring the pause between waves. Then exhale gently through the mouth. Do this again. Inhale through the heart. Exhale through ease. Now, bring to mind one simple memory of safety. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Maybe sunlight on your skin, the warmth of a pet, the quiet of morning before the world wakes. Feel what safety does to your body. Notice how the breath naturally lengthens, how your shoulders lower on their own. That's coherence. Not forced, not imagined, felt. Your body remembers what safety is. And when you inhabit that state, the hidden field reads it instantly. In that moment, your electromagnetic field expands. Your heart's rhythm synchronizes with your brain's waves. This alignment sends a coherent signal through the field, a signal of harmony, not need. And coherence always attracts coherence. When you learn to return to this state in daily moments, during a text that doesn't come, a bill that arrives, a silence that feels heavy, you stop leaking energy into fear. You become still enough for the field to mirror your calm instead of your chaos. This is how alignment actually begins, not by forcing positivity, but by restoring internal safety. The more often you feel coherence, the more reality begins to organize around that pattern. Because once the body learns safety, your consciousness can finally rise beyond reaction, and identity itself begins to shift. And that's where the real transformation begins. Most people stop at state work. They learn how to calm their system, breathe, center, find temporary alignment, and it helps. But coherence isn't the finish line. It's the doorway. The next level isn't about holding a high state. It's about becoming someone for whom that state is natural. See, states are temporary waves. Identity is the ocean underneath. You can ride elevated emotions for a while, but if your deeper self-image is still rooted in scarcity or unworthiness, the field will keep reflecting that version of you. because that's the vibration with the strongest charge. Identity is your broadcast frequency. It's not what you're doing, it's who you're being while doing it. You might say affirmations like, I'm abundant, but if your nervous system still believes, I'm the one who always has to struggle, that's the message that goes out. The field organizes itself around your dominant vibration, not your fleeting high. This is where embodiment comes in. You don't shift identity by thinking differently. You shift it by feeling differently on repeat until your body believes it's true. That's why certain moments in life seem to unlock new realities effortlessly. You weren't trying to become someone else. You were living as that someone without realizing it. Let's take an example. Imagine someone walking into a job interview. They've practiced power poses, repeated confidence mantras, tried to silence doubt, but underneath they still identify as someone who gets overlooked. The body remembers that story. The shoulders subtly round, the tone slightly tightens, and the field echoes that signal back through the interaction. Now, imagine the same person walking in as someone who already knows they belong there. Not pretending, but genuinely feeling that reality as true in their body. Their heart rate steadies, their energy expands. They don't chase acceptance. They radiate alignment. The interviewer feels it, even if they can't explain why. The field has already rearranged. The key isn't to maintain a good vibe. It's to rehearse a new identity until coherence becomes your baseline, not your peak. When that happens, what you attract changes, not by effort, but by inevitability. Identity is the frequency the field responds to with precision. And the moment you embody a new one, you start tuning into completely different probabilities. Timelines that were always there, waiting for resonance. But what if those timelines aren't linear? What if they're already running beside you right now? And all that's missing is your shift in identity to step into them. Imagine reality, not as one straight road, but as a vast network of paths, each one a timeline already vibrating with its own frequency. Every possible version of you exists somewhere along these roads. The one still waiting, the one already thriving, the one who let go years ago. You don't create these versions from scratch. You tune into them. Identity is your tuner. The moment you shift who you believe yourself to be, you change stations on the cosmic dial. You're not moving through time, you're moving through resonance. Here's how it works. Each timeline emits a frequency, a distinct pattern of thought, emotion, and energy. When your current identity vibrates at a certain level, you align with the matching version of reality. That's why things can suddenly click without logical reason, why synchronicities multiply, why opportunities seem to appear out of thin air. You didn't summon them. They were always broadcasting. You just finally tuned in. Let's ground that with a scene. Picture someone struggling with creative block. They've been staring at a blank page for days, spiraling between frustration and self-doubt. In this vibration, they're tuned to the timeline of resistance, the one where ideas feel distant, inspiration locked behind fog. Now, instead of fighting the block, they pause. They remember the version of themselves who loves creating, the one who loses hours in flow, who writes without fear of judgment. They stand up, shake their body, breathe, and invite that version in. They don't force inspiration. They become the artist who's already inspired. And something miraculous happens. The energy shifts, words begin to pour out, and the field aligns around their new identity. The magic isn't in the words they wrote, it's in the frequency they return to. That's the hidden field responding to coherence between identity and intention. When you truly grasp this, you stop asking how things will happen. The how belongs to a different station. You simply stay tuned to the one where it's already done. Every thought, every breath becomes a small act of resonance maintenance. Timelines collapse the moment your embodiment outpaces your doubt, and the universe never withholds. It just mirrors the signal you're steady enough to hold. So the real art of manifestation isn't hunting for possibilities. It's remembering which version of you you've been resonating with. Because when you consciously choose the identity that matches your desired timeline, you don't chase alignment. You inhabit it. And from there, something deeper becomes possible, a way to rehearse coherence so precisely that your body and field start syncing by choice, not chance. To live from a new timeline, you don't need more discipline. You need better rehearsal. The field responds to repetition, not performance. Every time you feel a future version of yourself now, you train your body to hold that frequency longer, steadier, stronger. That's how the hidden field learns what to mirror. Let's make this tangible. Here are a few tools that bring coherence from concept to muscle memory. 1. Bridge statements. Instead of affirmations that feel false, use sentences that bridge your current reality with the one you're tuning into. Not, I'm already rich, but I'm learning what stability feels like in my body. Not everything is perfect, but I'm discovering how to relax into what's unfolding. These statements don't trigger resistance. They signal movement. They invite your nervous system to walk the bridge rather than leap the gap. 2. Somatic anchors. Choose one physical gesture that represents your chosen frequency. Hand over heart for trust, open palms for receiving, grounded feet for confidence. Each time you feel the desired state, pair it with that gesture. Over time, your body learns. This movement equals safety. This movement equals flow. Eventually, one touch reactivates the entire state. 3. Embodiment drills. 5 minutes daily. Stand in front of a mirror and soften your expression. Breathe through your heart. Then speak as the version of you who already lives the timeline you want. Not forced confidence, subtle, grounded, real. Notice the shift in posture, tone, breath. That's the broadcast the field reads. 4. Sensory rehearsal. Close your eyes and imagine walking through a day in your desired identity, but focus on sensation instead of image. How does the air feel? What's the rhythm of your breath? What tension isn't there anymore? You're not visualizing outcomes, you're embodying the frequency that creates them. The key is consistency. These aren't rituals of control, they're acts of tuning. Each time you feel coherence, you collapse distance between timelines. The field begins to favor that pattern because it recognizes your signal as stable, and you'll notice it, not in fireworks, but in flow. Things that used to take effort start aligning quietly. People treat you differently without knowing why. Life starts to feel lighter, not because it changed overnight, but because you did. Have you ever noticed that the moment you stopped gripping, what you wanted finally showed up? Tell me your story in the comments. It might unlock someone else's leap, because once you learn to rehearse alignment instead of chase it, the field starts rehearsing with you. Even when you understand the mechanics, 3 invisible traps can pull you back into distortion faster than anything else. Urgency, split signals, and over-control. They're the static that breaks your resonance with the hidden field. Let's decode each one. Urgency feels like momentum, but it's really contraction wearing motivation's clothes. It whispers, I have to make this happen now. Beneath that rush is fear. Fear that if you don't push, the field won't respond. But urgency scrambles your signal. The body tightens, breath shortens, coherence collapses. The field doesn't read your intention to move forward. It reads your vibration of lack. The antidote isn't passivity. It's rhythmic action. Move, but only from regulated breath. Before any decision, pause. 1 full inhale, 1 full exhale. That single breath resynchronizes you with the rhythm of the field. Split signals are the hidden leak in manifestation. They happen when your mind says yes, but your energy whispers no. You want love, but you fear intimacy. You want money, but you distrust abundance. You want freedom, but you cling to control. The field doesn't judge. It mirrors whichever frequency is stronger. So if 70% of your signal is desire and 30% is fear, you'll manifest mixed results. Half doors, near misses, almosts. To unify your signal, bring the fear into the light. Name it. Feel it. Integrate it into the broadcast rather than pretending it isn't there. Wholeness, not perfection, is what coherence sounds like. And then there's over-control, the most deceptive of all. It's the impulse to micromanage the field. Timing, people, outcomes. But control is just fear dressed as strategy. Every time you grip, you break the flow that could have carried you further with less effort. The paradox is that surrender isn't doing nothing. It's trusting the rhythm enough to let it lead. When you release over-control, the field has room to orchestrate what your logic could never calculate. Synchronicities multiply not because you've become lucky, but because your frequency finally stops interfering with the natural coherence of events. Each obstacle is a signal distortion, and every distortion is an invitation. Urgency asks for breath. Split signals ask for honesty. Control asks for surrender. When you meet those edges with awareness, your frequency recalibrates instantly. The field doesn't punish resistance. It reflects it until you choose resonance again. And that's power. Because once you learn to stay coherent through contrast, your practice moves off the mat and into the living world, where real integration happens. And it's in the ordinariness of daily life where the hidden field reveals its most tangible magic. This is where the shift stops being theory and starts becoming your default setting. Feeling the hidden field isn't reserved for meditation cushions or moonlit rituals. It's available in the middle of your commute, your kitchen, your next conversation. Integration means you start living with the field instead of visiting it occasionally. When you walk, you're not just moving through space, you're moving through vibration. Try this. The next time you're outside, imagine the ground humming back to your every step. Let your breath synchronize with your pace until movement becomes rhythm, not effort. You're teaching your body that flow is ordinary. When you eat, feel gratitude not as an idea but as a sensation, how nourishment enters you, how your cells awaken. That awareness amplifies coherence. The field feels it. When you speak to someone, notice the energy between you as something alive. Words are just surface ripples. It's the tone, the frequency beneath them that shapes connection. Can you keep your body open even if the conversation is uncomfortable? That's mastery, holding coherence when the external world tries to pull you out. And when you scroll, pay attention. Every post, every image is a frequency prompt. Do you contract or expand? The moment you catch your reaction and breathe instead of spiral, you reclaim authorship of your field. This is how you live quantum principles in a human day. Micro adjustments of awareness that turn life itself into your practice. The more you integrate, the more coincidences stop feeling like luck and start feeling like language, the way the field speaks back to you. A message at the perfect time, a song lyric that answers your thought, a sudden clarity in silence. These are not random, they are resonance feedback. The hidden field becomes less out there and more through here. It moves with you in errands, laughter, moments of stillness. The extraordinary hides inside the ordinary once your coherence stabilizes. And something beautiful happens. You stop measuring progress by results and start sensing it in peace. The desire to rush fades. The pressure to prove dissolves. You find yourself trusting the invisible rhythm that once felt unreachable. But there's one more layer most people never touch, the expansion. When this coherence starts to spread beyond you, influencing relationships, creativity, even physical health, it reveals what the hidden field truly is, a shared intelligence you're meant to co-create with. And that's where we go next. The point where your frequency doesn't just shape your life, but begins to shape the collective around you. Once coherence becomes your baseline, it stops being personal power. It becomes participatory creation. Your frequency no longer just shapes your experience. It begins to ripple outward, reorganizing the environments, relationships, and systems you touch. This is the point where your alignment starts changing more than just your timeline. It begins to tune the collective field around you. You've felt this before. Walk into a room where someone is calm, grounded, genuinely open, and the air itself feels lighter. Conversations flow differently. Solutions arise where tension used to be. That's resonance transmission. A coherent nervous system influences others without a single word. Let's ground this with a scene. Imagine someone facing a health challenge. They've been fighting their body, pushing it to heal faster, obsessing over results. But one morning, something softens. They stop asking, "When will I be well?" and instead whisper, "What does harmony feel like right now?" They start walking slower, breathing deeper, speaking to their cells like allies instead of enemies. Within weeks, subtle things shift. Their sleep deepens, inflammation lowers, intuition sharpens. The body responds because the field within it feels coherence again. That same mechanism applies to relationships. When you stabilize your frequency, people unconsciously attune. A partner softens. Colleagues collaborate more easily. Conflict dissolves faster because you're no longer amplifying dissonance. You're modeling regulation. The field between humans becomes an ecosystem, not a battleground. Creativity also blooms here. Ideas that once felt forced start arriving through you, not from you. You stop thinking up solutions and start receiving them. Artists, inventors, and visionaries describe it the same way. A frequency takes over, and they become the instrument. The field plays through coherence. Even purpose shifts. You realize your mission isn't something to find. It's something to emit. The clearer your frequency, the clearer your contribution. You don't need to convince anyone or compete. The signal of authentic embodiment attracts its matching roles, allies, and opportunities without friction. When enough individuals live this way, something profound happens. Collective coherence emerges. The same way synchronized fireflies light the forest, coherent hearts light the field. This is not poetic. It's measurable. Studies of heart-brain synchronization show that when groups enter coherence, local electromagnetic environments actually stabilize. The hidden field is communal, and that means your alignment matters far beyond your personal manifestation. Every time you choose calm over chaos, trust over control, presence over urgency, you tilt the shared field toward harmony. But there's an even deeper dimension beneath this, a truth that dissolves the boundary between self and source, showing that the field isn't just responsive, it's alive. And once you sense that aliveness, surrender stops feeling like loss. It becomes the ultimate form of power. The deeper you go, the more the hidden field stops feeling like a tool and starts feeling like a presence. You realize it was never something you were using to manifest. It's something you were inside all along. Every breath, thought, and heartbeat is the field expressing itself as you. There's no separation, only perspective. This is where control finally dissolves. Because when you sense that the same intelligence beating your heart is orchestrating the timing of your life, you stop forcing alignment and start listening for it. Manifestation becomes less about summoning and more about surrendering into rhythm. Surrender sounds passive, but it's the opposite. It's a precision act, an alignment so deep that you become transparent to the larger current moving through everything. You don't lose direction. You become direction itself. You don't float aimlessly. You flow accurately. The paradox is clear. The more you let go, the more the field can move through you unobstructed. Think of a river. The current isn't trying to reach the ocean. It is the movement toward it. Your role is to remove the rocks of resistance, fear, doubt, self-judgment. Once you do, the current carries you exactly where you were meant to go because it's already encoded with destination. At this level, coherence becomes communion. You begin to feel the field's intelligence in subtle nudges, an inner yes that feels like warmth in the chest, a quiet weight that feels like gravity in the gut. You start trusting those impulses more than logic, not because you've abandoned reason, but because you've merged with a greater one. The hidden field isn't responding to you. It is you, reflected infinitely. That's the observer effect turned inside out. You are both the observer and the observed, the sender and the wave. When you embody this, peace stops being conditional. You're no longer trying to make reality mirror your desires. You're realizing reality is your desire unfolding in perfect tempo. This is where every spiritual tradition eventually points: union, oneness, surrender. But in quantum terms, it's simply coherence without distortion. The heart and brain sync, emotion and thought merge, self and source collapse into a single frequency of being. And from this state, even challenges change flavor. You no longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" But, "What is this teaching the field through me?" Every contrast becomes calibration. Every silence becomes communication. The hidden field was never hidden. It was simply quiet enough to require presence. And when presence becomes your natural state, you touch the edge of something sacred, creation as consciousness recognizing itself. But to live from that awareness, to carry it through daily reality, requires one final shift, closing the loop between knowing and embodiment, between sensing and expressing. That's where power turns permanent. When you finally feel the hidden field, life stops being a puzzle to solve and becomes a dance you already know the steps to. The pressure to get it right fades, because you realize there's nothing left to chase, only frequencies to remember. Everything that once felt separate, desire, timing, opportunity, intuition, turns out to be the same current, moving through you in different languages. You start noticing that reality doesn't arrive from outside anymore. It rises from within, like a reflection forming on still water. The mirror doesn't create the image. It reveals what stands before it with perfect accuracy. That's what this field does. It mirrors your coherence, your honesty, your embodiment, not as judgment, but as resonance. The journey was never about mastering technique. It was about remembering simplicity, to breathe until safety returns, to soften until clarity appears, to align until the field recognizes itself in you. That's how the invisible becomes visible, through you becoming transparent enough for it to shine through. When you live this way, small things become sacred. A conversation feels like synchronicity. A quiet walk feels like guidance. The ordinary hums with precision. You no longer pray for signs. You are the sign. You move as coherence itself, and reality responds like an echo of your internal tone. This is the real power. Subtle, grounded, effortless, the kind that doesn't demand proof because it feels inevitable. The hidden field was never asking for faith, it was waiting for frequency. So, as you move through your next moment, whether you're waiting for a message, creating something new, or simply breathing, pause long enough to feel it. That quiet pulse beneath everything, the hum that's been following you your whole life. That's it. That's the field. And it's been listening all along. Have you ever felt that quiet moment where everything suddenly sinks, as if the world was whispering yes? Share it in the comments. Someone else might recognize their own reflection through yours. Because once you feel the hidden field, you don't just unlock your power. You remember it was never lost.